I woke up one morning and I couldn't move. At the time, I thought that was it. I was paralysed. I was sitting there in the living room. It was just me and my brother, and he kept asking, "You all right?" And I was just like, "Yeah." I was lying. He left, and I just sat there, and I had all these thoughts of mentally how I was feeling with no money as well. Because this is after the Marines, so I started drinking gin, and this was about 1 in the afternoon, sitting at home on my own. No one was in, and I remember being in the kitchen with a knife, and I was like, "Just do it, just do it." But my mum come through the door, took the knife out of my hand, like grabbed me, and then stayed with me.
I don't think you realise how proud your mum would be of you.
So when I did therapy, I read loads of different books. Luckily, I've done seminars with some of the biggest names you can think of, but it wasn't making me successful in trading. But Rewired genuinely did help me click
Become the catalyst, basically. What was it about Rewired then? What is the difference of me reading, like, Trading the Zone, reading all these books? Why is it that when people go through the Rewired program, something shifts, something clicks that actually helps them make money?
But now, like, mentally, I'm the best I've ever felt, and that's still growing. Physically, best I've ever been, ever. And financially, best I've ever been. So I've literally flipped all three.
Incredible, mate.
On its head. I was like, well, if Mark can do it, same town as me, well, why can't I? Why don't we play football together?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this.
Sitting here right now, so what did you just withdraw the other week? It's from your FTMO, so you had your first withdrawal, that was, what, $6,500?
$6.5, yeah, and then it works out as £5,000 British pound.
Yeah, that's an incredible achievement after all of those. It just goes to show you one single trade. And this is just the beginning. This is not the, you got much bigger ambitions.
Oh, yeah.
What is it about it? So when you have the withdrawal, what did you think as to?
Thanks for coming to my house, mate.
You're very welcome. What is it about your house you wanted to show me?
It was the gym.
Yep.
And then moving from the gym, it was then the clubhouse. So you could just transition from the gym, have a coffee, sit down, relax, look at the charts. I don't even go in the house.
No, just out here.
Just stay out here.
Appreciate you making me this coffee as well.
No.
And you put my initials on it.
I just didn't want to make a mistake because obviously one of them's got something in there that I don't want.
Yeah, I don't want anyone to obviously judge you for being a Chelsea fan. But I just don't want people to think less of you because you're a Chelsea fan.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want them to paint you in a certain light as that it's not really a big club and all that kind of stuff. Did you choose to support Chelsea, or was it like in the family?
My dad was a Chelsea supporter since I can remember being like a little kid, like 3-4 years old.
So it's not as bad then. It's not like you went and chose.
No, it wasn't
really
like
like Chelsea.
2005, and I was like, hang on a minute, I want to be a Chelsea fan. Well, at least I got the memo of wearing white. So I saw you in the Kent Messenger, which is a local paper in Kent, and it was something to do with you doing well, and I wanted to talk about what it was that you was doing well with.
Yeah.
And we got to start again.
So Stonley was my first ever student.
Yep.
It's actually crazy to think all those years ago when you approached me and wanted to learn to trade, because I was very low key with it.
You was, yeah.
Barely anyone knew what I was doing.
No.
I'd been full time for quite a few years at that point. How does it feel now? You got a few 100,000 capital under management, FTMO.
Yep.
You've made your first withdrawal.
Yep.
Which is such a short period of time as well from
Very
actually
quick.
getting funded, and you're really close to passing on the in-house fund as
Yep.
well. How does that feel after all of those years?
It does feel amazing, but at the same time, it feels natural. Like it was going to happen, even though it took a very long time. And there was times where I didn't feel like could it happen?
How long's it taken?
Going all in properly, 5 years, just over 5 years.
But you've been trading for what, 8 plus?
8, yeah. But I wasn't in the right frame of mind for that period of time with trading. I just saw it as a bit of a side hustle, sort of.
You've been really locked in for the last 5, basically.
Yeah, I've just saw it as a little bit of, it'll just happen, but it doesn't work like that. But the 5 years has been all in, and it's been a very hard journey, but it's been worth it.
Well, give a bit of context. So most people don't know. I've known Stonley for quite a period of time. Briefly played football together as well.
Yeah.
So it's been a decent journey all the way through, and I mean your persistence levels has been phenomenal. But take us back from when you very first started, because I remember when you approached me, because I was out with my friends.
Yeah, you was out with your friends, and because I saw you originally in the Kent Messenger, in the paper, for a business, which I think was the Silk Bros as well as something else.
The fashion business, yeah.
Yeah, and there was something else which I'm sure it mentioned trading.
Yeah.
And I got hold of you straight away, and I was like, "What is this you're doing?" And you explaining, and then from there I was just like, "I'm really interested. I'm really interested." And then, funny enough, I happened to see you at the right time on the same night in Maidstone, and I had a little conversation about it, and it just went from there. Where I was like, "Right, I'm happy to pretty much take this risk. Just tell me what I've got to do." And then I remember you coming around like my house and being like, "Set this, and this up," and go from there. And then here we are.
Honestly, it's crazy to even think back then. So as my very, very first student, to see that you've persisted all the way through.
Yeah.
What kept you going for all of those years? If you think about the normal person, after they don't see results for 1 year, 2 year, let alone 5+, what made you still go, I'm still going to keep doing this?
I've always been a persistent person. Even from a previous job that I hated, I kept going. Just same with Marines. I had that same personality in the Marines, just persistency to keep going. And I think knowing you and where you originally come from and you doing it, I was like, I want this. I saw your freedom and I saw you doing well. I was like, oh, if Mark can do it, same town as me, why can't I? Why we play football together?
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this. I do want this. And there's always that inner me of like, I can keep going.
I guess it gave you that relatability of like, you know me.
Yeah,
I didn't have any special handouts.
No.
So it's not going to be any different. Why can't you persist? Why can't you do it for yourself?
Yeah.
So for those couple of years, John, what was so interesting is that sitting here right now. So what did you just withdraw the other week? It's from your FTMO. So you had your first withdrawal. That was what, $6,500?
$6.5, yeah, and then it works out as £5,000 British pounds.
Yeah, nice. So 5K.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an incredible achievement after all of those. It just goes to show you one single trade. And this is just the beginning. This is not you got much bigger ambitions.
Oh, yeah.
I guess for you, how does that, I know you said it's like not really sinking in yet. What is it about it? So when you have the withdrawal, what did you think as to?
It was quite interesting because I remember Abdu speaking about this, saying when he first got his 10K. So funny enough, with that 5K, I've always had a thing of, 5K a month, 5K a month. And I remember saying that to you in 2015. And I even said this to Danielle as well, about 5K a month. When I got that 5K, I deserved it, but at the same time, it felt like free money. It felt like click of a mouse, open the app, there's 5K. And it's only going to be, this is like the start, and I know there's 5 figures a month is normal anyway. So it's a nice feeling of knowing that it's just going to happen.
And you've got the belief now.
And I've got the belief, and what it is as well is the 5 years that I've done to work for it makes that 5K. Do you know what I mean? So moving forward, it's always going to be the same repetitive thing of that. It's not so much the money. So when I got that 5K, it wasn't like, oh my God, it's £5,000 like the other money. It's what those 5 years have taught me with the technicals and my mindset. It's the same repetition that's going to get me the next 5, 10, 15, 20 grand. And it's those actions of being a trader.
You know it's deliberate. So basically what's happened, you've sat there and thought, I didn't fluke it.
No.
And I think you know it. Every trader deep down knows when they've done something, they know they probably can't do again. Versus when you've mapped it out, it's been the same process you've always done.
Yep.
And you just happen to just do it. And the pressure as well, the pressure that you've done it under. Like the pressure in the sense of, I know we was making a bit of a joke of it in the webinar, but we had it, for those that don't know, we had a bet. You know, so talk us through the bet. So if Chelsea win the league, then I have to wear a Chelsea shirt.
Chelsea shirt. And if Liverpool wins the league, I've got to wear a Liverpool shirt, but which is looking likely now. Liverpool going to win the league.
But there was a caveat. So we was in a webinar and I said, listen, Stonley passes his 200K account, then, you know, the bet's void. He's redeemed himself.
So I quickly made it happen and got the withdrawal.
So that's all we need to do. Anyone who's struggling, I mean, that's a pretty decent formula, to be fair.
Just find something that's going to push you a bit more.
But you work well under pressure. You know, you've had that from the Marines. Can you think back to a moment when you was in the Marines that you think average person would probably find this extremely difficult? And you probably found it difficult as well. But talk to us through a moment of the average person doesn't get to experience that. Was there like a dark moment for you?
Not so much a dark moment, but a moment of, I go with training because that's where it's more apparent. So with training, they try to break you. So,
Right.
for example, there was 48 of us at week 1, day 1, and only 13 originals at the end. And they made it clear, like when I passed out as a Marine, talking about my family, you know, we tried to break Stonley, we tried to break him, but he just kept going, just persistency. And like some of the stuff that they do, if anyone knows what the Marines or even the Paras are like, 'cause they're very similar, it's incredible when I look back now. I can look back and laugh, and I've got some friends I still talk to today, and we look back and laugh about it sometimes, what we went through. So it goes to show, like, if you just keep going, what you work towards will happen. And for me, the first full proof of that was Marines training. 32 weeks of just constant, what am I doing wrong? Why? I've done everything right, but you're still punishing me. It was like that all the time. You thought you ironed and everything was clean and everything was sorted out. You've done everything right, which they're telling you, and they will still just absolutely beast you or tell you you're shit or whatever. So there's not compliments. It was just full abuse, not abuse, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, how far can we push this person?
Yeah, and
almost like the markets, though. You know, you just said
yeah, true.
you're doing everything right. Why am I still being punished?
Yeah, true.
How many other traders think that you're doing all the right things? The setup's A class, everything you've done, but still.
Yeah, it's a very good point, and yeah, it's true actually. Thinking about it like that. So with the market, I've done everything right, and it's still a loss, and I'm scratching my head and thinking, but why? Now, don't get me wrong. There's been times in the 5 years where I'm like, am I actually going to make this? Am I actually going to do this?
How did you battle that thought?
I didn't want to let my sons down. So my why originally was my mum.
Talk us through that to what you feel comfortable with.
Yeah, so before she passed away, so like I'm adopted, and before she passed away, she was like, because I kept saying, I'm doing it for you, Mum, I'm doing it for you, and she was like, do it for your son. And obviously I've got another son now, so I'm doing it for them, and I can understand why she's saying that now, because as a parent, as a mum, you're doing it for you do it for your kids. Like, I love being a dad. I love being a dad, and I'm doing it for them. And I didn't want to be a failure. I didn't want to look like someone who gave up. So when they grow up, they'll be like, oh, Dad, you done this. Why did you give up? I don't want to be that person. I wanted to, if I can do it in the Marines, I can do it with trading, to keep going.
And your mum was a big supporter of you.
Yeah, massive supporter. She really, really was a big supporter. And what she's done for me until my 30th birthday was incredible. And she showed me what a parent is with love. The two biggest things that I've taken away from my mum, which I give my boys and in general, is love, because she gave me that. So I give that to my boys, and I see it every time I pick them up from school. Every time I see them, Dad, they just run at me all the time.
Well, the freedom after this, you get to go pick them up from school.
Yeah, I am. I'm picking them up after this podcast, and it's that feeling of like my dad wasn't present, and like if he had to go to work, I never saw him in the morning, never saw him in the evening, maybe for a little bit, and then I was already in bed. But I'm actually getting to see them all the time, and I love that. And the other thing as well is that when she did pass, because in the last 9 years, I've lost 9 people, all very close to me. Naive of time. I was naive of time, where I thought, everything will be fine, just do this. And I realised time is actually really short. So I wanted to crack this as such with the markets, trading, so I can have that time back, that freedom of being with my boys, being with my family. And I see my family all the time. I'm with my sons all the time.
But how did you battle that emotion of, right, you realise time is short.
Yeah.
It really connects with you emotionally, but you also know that if I try to force this and I almost become desperate for it, the further it pushes away, almost delays the timeline. Was you like consciously aware of that?
I was, and I think the comparison again was the Marines. So if you tried to cheat the system, you fucked up, and they would let you know that you did as well. So there was times I actually did that in the market. I generally did. I tried thinking, if I put 2% on, or I forced a trade thinking, well, it's got to go. I forecasted it. I got punished straight away. And then I was like, well, the more I push this, it's not going to happen. I've just got to keep doing what I'm doing, the technical side, the time and experience in the market of learning the candlesticks, certain bit of structure, waiting for it a little bit longer. I used to do what you tell us with the 1 hour, wait till it closes. I never used to wait till it closes. It was like 5 minutes, and I'll get in just in case I miss it and tag in and tag out. It's all those little things, and I just wanted to to make sure that I was doing it right, because I knew that if I didn't, I'll get punished.
Have you ever sat there and thought about the transferable skills that have come from the Marines? Like, as we're talking right now, all I can hear is the subconscious things that have happened.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned, you don't want to cheat the system, which to me says you're someone who's not willing to take shortcuts, like unconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, were you consciously aware you were doing that? Or is this kind of coming up now? Have you started to connect the dots, is what I'm saying, of like, wow, what I've done in the Marines, I can see how it's a transferable skill. Or was you not even aware of it?
I wasn't aware of it until, like, I would say the last year, when a lot of things started to just to come into place. The smaller 1% tweaks were clicking. I was like, oh, that actually coincides with that, and that makes sense because of that. And I started to see how that all comes together.
Well, if you think about it, your whole journey, you know, I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that. Were there any dark moments for you? You was in a spot where you, not that you wouldn't make this successful, but like, was there ever a point in your life where you had overwhelming emotions or like depressed? Like, the reason why I say this is that I believe anyone who becomes successful has like a down phase, and it'll be a period in their life where they're isolated for a period of time, or they have a lot of alone time, or they feel a bit distant from their friends, or they're just in a bit of a rough patch. I believe every successful person has gone through that. Is there anyone that you had?
For me, it was 2018. Mentally, like, my mindset was so bad. Like, I was suicidal, and
Suicidal,
and because my only a couple, like, there'll be a lot of people, if they do watch this, will not even know this. Like, obviously my family know, and a few very close, like, friends. And mentally, physically, I damaged my back. So when I spoke about my back earlier to you, I lifted a weight above my shoulders, and I felt the pop, and I was ruined. And plus, I had no money, so I had a £500 overdraft.
Yeah.
I had £30 left to my name, and in that time, end of 2017, 2018, when I did go out, I had a couple of close mates who would end up buying me drinks. So I didn't have the money, and all three of those at one time were just so impactful. And then I found out I was having a son, and I lied to a lot of people in why I was ignoring it, or why, because I've always wanted to be a dad, but the real reason was because I felt embarrassed of having no money. I was injured, like, I was so bad. I had to see a specialist, and mentally I was suicidal. I was embarrassed to be a dad to a potential son at the time.
What, you felt like you wouldn't be enough for
I
him?
wouldn't be enough, and then I woke up one morning and I couldn't move, and I was laying in bed, and my brother come in and he helped me get out of bed, and I was like, I've got to go to the doctor, I don't know what's going on, like, I can't move, and my neck, my back, at the time I thought that was it, I was paralysed. Got back from the doctors, and I was sitting there in the living room, and it was just me and my brother, and he kept asking, "You all right?" And I was just like, yeah, I was lying. He's like, I've got to go now. He left mentally how I was feeling with no money as well, because this is after the Marines, and seeing a lot of people in different paths in their life, where I'm back at square one, and there was a lot more to it. And then that was just one factor. So I started drinking gin, and this was about 1 in the afternoon, sitting at home on my own, no one was in. And I remember being in the kitchen with a knife, and I was like, just do it. And I don't know how to this day, but my mum come through the door, took the knife out of my hand, like, grabbed me, and then stayed with me. Yeah, and I woke up in the morning extremely hungover, and I just told my mum, like, I don't want to be here anymore. And then from 2018, therapy, seminars, I was very lucky knowing you, because obviously we spoke in 2015, and I remember reaching out to you, and I was like, I know you're in a great place, I don't know what to do. And fortunately, you got back to me and was like, I appreciate you telling me, take these steps, which I did start taking. I listened, and
Yeah, you've always listened really well.
I then took those actions, and I saw a therapist for the whole of, like, 3/4 of the whole of 2018, read books, seminars, and then when it comes to 2019, I was on that journey of, well, I've grown, I know where I went wrong, I know what I need to do to change. I'm on this great path now of being self-aware and emotional intelligence, and that was the start of all coming together. And then obviously my son was born through that period in 2018. And I felt better about that being a dad of that time, because then I had a job again, which was a good job. And then I was better mentally because I was growing, or I'm still growing, but physically I was still working on those aspects. So all three started, you could say, 2019. But now look now, like all three are, mentally, I'm the best I've ever felt, and that's still growing. Physically, best I've ever been, ever. And financially, best I've ever been. So I've literally flipped all three.
Incredible, mate.
On its head.
Honestly, I don't think you realise how proud your mum would be of you.
And the thing is as well, I'm not saying this is like an egotistical. I'm trying to highlight if I was like that, anyone can achieve it. Not if it, even if it's not trading, anything. I'm just trying to highlight that if anyone can go through something very similar,
be that broken and still turn it around,
and become successful with, like, as well, obviously traders, it will be trading. I didn't want to give up because I knew if I can do it in the Marines and I can do it for myself, then why can't I do it with trading? And I've done it.
Incredible, mate. Honestly, so proud of you, but I really mean that. I know you've told me, I remember the whole journey, you saying how much you're doing it for your mum.
Yeah.
And her being your biggest supporter. Look how proud she'd be of what you've done.
Yeah.
But not just for these achievements, because I think they were inevitable. You were too persistent not to succeed. You never know that when it was going to happen. I just knew someone with your persistence, like, you're going to figure it out. Like, it's eventually things are going to click.
Yeah.
But look at the person you've become to your sons. And I see that. I see how much time and effort, like, it's so obvious to see how proud you are to put that time and attention in.
Yeah, mate. I love seeing. I love being with my boys.
They don't realise it now, but as they grow up and get older, they're going to see the man that you've become, and they'll appreciate it so much.
Like my oldest boy is already showing signs. So funny enough, there's a test. They say between, I think it's 4 and 6, they do this test where you get a chocolate biscuit, and then you say, oh, I'm going to go upstairs for 5 minutes. If I come down, if it's still there, you get another one. If you eat it. And apparently this test is actually to showcase if potentially the child will become successful later on in life.
Emotional control.
Emotional control. And obviously he's heard me talk so much about psychological behaviour and mindset, and hearing you, because obviously I'm playing videos of you in the background, and he's seeing this and he understands all this sort of stuff. Like, I remember on a live, when you've done a Instagram live, and my son's ears are poked up, and he's then gone, I want to watch it. And he's watching it with me. So he's interested in what you've got to say because he understands. So I made the test harder on purpose. I gave him a chocolate biscuit, so he's already got the flavour in his mouth. I put another one down. I said, right, I need to go upstairs. I'll be 5 minutes. If I come back down and it's still there, you can have another biscuit. If not, that's all gone, that's it. And he went, oh, okay, Dad, okay. I went upstairs, sat down, I went 5 minutes, went back down, it was still there. And I went, well done, mate, that was really good. You get another one now. So I gave him another chocolate biscuit, and I went, did you find it hard? He's like, yeah, I could just taste it and I really wanted it, but because I was going to get another one, I waited. And I was like, well done, mate, I'm really proud of it.
That's amazing. You know, all of that development that happens from 0 to 7 is so underrated. You know, our relationship with money, this is why when people talk about trading and they ignore and neglect the psychological side, it baffles me, because all of those moments, like what you've done for your son there, that will be a moment that you've just taught him unconsciously emotional control, delayed gratification. And you do that over a period of time, that shapes their character. And then as they grow up, you see all these different people with different personalities. It's not random. Like, people's personalities right now, it's not by chance that when you're 18 and 20 years old, and the way you are with people, your confidence, the way you carry yourself, whether you're good at sharing or you're quite closed off, whether you're abundant, that all stems from that. So thinking that we just take this risk of, right, I want to learn trading now, and I'll ignore all of that stuff in the past that you don't think is going to interfere. And you're someone who's even more unique, right? So you've gone through therapy, and then you've gone through Rewired. Talk to me through that.
So when I did therapy, I read loads of different books. I got about 40 different books at home as well. Seminars, webinars. Luckily, I've done seminars with some of the biggest names you can think of. All of that helped me become self-aware, emotional, intelligent, and just understanding life, of the brain, etc. But it wasn't making me successful in trading. I know this sounds like cliche and I know you and Rewired, but Rewired genuinely did help me click the...
Become the catalyst, basically.
Yeah, so I've overcome ego, anxiety, FOMO, greed. The two biggest ones for me was impulsivity and wins and losses were defining me. But all of those came in different stages over time of keep repeating.
So what was it about Rewired then? Because when you go through therapy, you read a lot of books,
Yeah,
there's going to be some crossovers. Because I mean, we know the stats, and I think people find this hard to wrap their head around, is that what is the difference of me reading like Trading the Zone, reading all these books? Why is it that when people go through the Rewired program, something shifts, something clicks that actually helps them make money?
for me, like reading Trading Zones, I've done it a few times now. It gives you the fundamentals of understanding the concepts of it, the trading. But when it was Rewired, I was actually... It gives you the actual details of what you need for yourself because everyone's different. I know I'm not just being like cliche with it all because like I said, I know you and it's Rewired. But when I really took it serious with Rewired, the modules were like in... what's the one I'm looking for? The way that they were like
Laid out.
helped me see why. Oh, that... okay, now that's my why and not the how. This then makes sense for the flow zone, and then I could then, and then over time you go, right, that makes sense for this. If I do this, that makes then sense to help me move forward with it, and it all made sense because when I started to take trades and I saw I'd done something wrong, I would then look back and go, do you know what? Because of this in module 5, it was affecting me on this trade.
And I could see that you used it that way. I mean, the amount of voice notes, the amount of message that you would
Yeah.
send me, right? I could see how serious that if a bit of experience happened in the markets, you'd try and find the answer or a reason as to why. I remember talking to you about self-image a lot.
Yeah, self-image, yeah.
That was a massive one.
Words,
Remember
yeah.
the little subtle things, like if you bump into someone, you always say sorry,
Yep.
sorry.
It was honestly the smallest things, and what it's like anything in life. When you go back in a new unit of time and you've grown, you see something else. Like the most common one we can all think of is when you watch a film and then you watch it the third, fourth, fifth time, you always pick up something else. And I started to see that with Rewired, as well as my everyday today life, but as well as trading, and it made a lot of sense. And when I improved one thing, something else got heightened.
Yes.
For then me to go, now that I can then correlate to trading, and it actually worked, and I could see it massively. And I'm not just saying this, but if it weren't for Rewired, I don't think I would have clocked the things that stuck out the most.
Why do you think that is? Do you think you would have been lost in the whirlpool of the next book and the next book and just more information, basically?
And then keep asking questions to for other people, like when we have like meetups or accountability partners, always asking the same questions, but they're different for everyone.
It's not tailored, is it?
No,
Like at the end of
no.
the day, you're different. Like you said, that you're an orphan, right? You grew up. It's a very unique story, and how that affects you emotionally versus someone else is completely different.
Yeah,
Sometimes people have no parents ever present in their family, and they grow up just on their own, or they just grow up with their
yeah.
grandparents, for example. That's going to affect someone different. Someone who grows up
Completely.
rich to poor, we're all different.
It's completely different self-worth. Yeah, I can understand that of self-image, but it's true. And
How would you say they should use it right now? Or a better question, how many times have you gone through it?
2023, I wanted to make it stick in my head where every morning, in the window of opportunity,
Yeah.
I just read everything on every module because I've got the booklet,
Yeah.
and I would just, because how I work is if I see negative words or negative, it sort of just sticks.
Yeah.
So I'm a words of affirmation person. So when I keep repeating, it really sticks, and I find that it works for me massively.
Mhm.
I used to go through all of it. 2023, I went through it every single day for a whole year, every single day. And then 2024, I started to implement it more when it's sort of stuck in. You know, when something sinks in and it's like subconscious,
Yeah.
and then you take those actions with day-to-day life or with trading. 2024, I saw it work a lot, like a lot.
I could see the shift, and I could see the improvement, the correlation between that and your technical skill almost improving.
Yeah, it worked together. And it wasn't until Q4 of last year, 2024, where I went, do you know what? I've overcome ego, FOMO, greed, all that. And the two then that popped out the most was the impulsive side, which funny enough, I was so blinded to, it was fogged. And I then went back through Rewired, and I was like, do you know what? The flow zone, and then the module 7, the momentum cycle, they work so well with that. And I started to see that come into play. And then the wins and losses made sense. And then again, from my own past, because I used to love gambling, not an addiction, but I could just keep doing it.
That's where the impulsiveness was
The
coming.
impulse side coming. So if I took a loss, I used to be like, if I go in again, it's going to then pay me back. It's got to.
Yeah.
And that's where it came in. But I was so blinded by that before. So I then noticed all those things. In Q4, I went with Rewired on those two main things and listening to like what you, Ibby and Abdu had to say. And it just clicked. And then I started to see results like really well as understanding the market, because it made sense. Because I went 2 steps back. I just ghost traded in Q4. I was like, right, I'm not going to be on any fund. I'm just going to ghost trade Q4. Now that I understand all of this, and it made me see that I was impulsive before, because I'll be like, right, something's shaping up, price is shaping up, I can get in. But because there was no money on the line, I was like, well, if this works out, I've done the right thing. It was very calm. And then all of that played out. And then it got to the end of December, and I was like, right, I'm getting the funds. And then in the space of 1 quarter, pass, payout, and literally a couple % on passing the Falcon one. It's only because of indices and commodities that you can't trade on the Falcon that I passed it.
Well, a mistrade this morning, that'd have been done.
Yeah, it would have been done. Yeah, mistrade. It's funny enough. I was getting ready, so I missed it.
It's the price you pay for coming on a podcast.
Yeah, true.
No, but it's amazing to see all these different parts, different components that helps trading. You got people learning on their own in the bedroom. They can't even comprehend how many things play a role. Not just the psychological side, or of course the technical experience, but the people that are around you, the accountability.
So this is the massive thing. So with the community and everyone being so, tight knit, like-minded people. So in the last 3 years, I've had accountability partner Jordan, and funny enough, I was very impulsive and he was very reserved. And for those 3 years, we're back and forth, like literally every day, about what we're seeing, how this is working. Then we watch webinars and all this stuff, coaching calls, and we'll get back to each other on what we learned and how we interpreted it. And it helped so much. It brought us to the point of, and Jordan's at that advanced level now where he's so close to passing funds, literally so close. And that accountability partner, and we ended up training together. Yeah, it's and that's what I like about the community, that you can find people who are close by, because he lives in locally as well, where you can just...
You actually build lifelong friendships.
Yeah.
Because no one's going to understand you how someone who is involved in trading, and also, you know what trading's like, it forces you to become the best version you could possibly be.
Yeah, 100%.
And even if you have someone who is entrepreneurial, they might be entrepreneurial because they want to start a business, and you might relate to that person a bit more.
Yeah.
But just because someone's entrepreneurial doesn't mean they also are open-minded to improving their flaws. They might just be good at business, and that's it.
Yeah.
So finding someone in trading, that's massive. And you know what stands out to me, people like Jordan and yourself, is that I've not seen any difference of intensity. Even when you weren't making money, your level of care, if you like, to want to help other people has not shifted one bit. So it would be easy. The reason why I'm saying this, it would be easy when you make 5 grand, you make 10 grand. Part of you feels good. He's like, all of the work that I've put in, all the money I've invested, boom, done.
It's showing.
You know, I've got that. It's very easy to then be positive and then go, yeah, I'll jump in and help someone, because you're on top of the moon. But when you haven't made it yet and you're on your way up, and you're still just as enthusiastic and excited to want to help someone, even if it's a tiny little thing, I think that compassion and that care, that shows what we've built over these past 8 years with people like yourself, people like Jordan, so many people. The list could go on. I'd be here all day.
When I took that from, because obviously I've seen loads of people succeed and pass and get funds and stuff, and I loved it, and it gave me clarity that I can do it as well. So it's like there's loads of examples in life where someone's done something, and then loads of people start doing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
So
like the 4 minute.
Yeah,
model.
that for example, and like loads of other champions that have done stuff, and then next thing you know,
Everyone's doing it.
Everyone's doing it, and when I started seeing that, I was like for personally what I've gone through, I was like, if I can go through all that and see people do it, and I can do it, and it gave me that extra push to
You've actually seen it all. You've seen the people come and you've
and
seen the
people
people
go,
go.
yeah.
Talk to us through seeing that change over the period of time. You must have seen people that at one point they were probably technically further along than you,
Oh
but
yeah,
then they gave up.
yeah.
How did that feel when you saw people that maybe you looked up to at one point, but then they threw in a towel, they threw in a towel? What made you still go, nah, this is still for me?
I think it's because I was in my own lane of, well, I want to succeed. If they're there or not. But at the same time, I got a bit judgmental on like it's a bit weak.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
You saw it as that's a weak mentality. basically.
yeah, pretty much. Like it's a weak, and then there's people that then have gone then to bad mouth Falcon, and then start doing loads of YouTube videos on, oh, this is the best company, that's the best. Just admit that you can't trade, and all you've got going for you is trying to get views and likes on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? There's loads of people like that, and it's not just that, but what kept me going again is in my own lane of being like, well, I know I can be up there with what Mark's doing. I knew people were going to succeed, and I would then catch up to them in the long run. But if people fell off, and there's been loads of people that have fallen off a ladder, it just didn't bother me. I think again, in my situation, like I said to you at the start, there was 48 of us at week 1, day 1 in Marines. There was only 13 of us left, the originals.
It's almost like you expect that.
So I'm used to people dropping off like flies, giving up. There was quite a lot of blokes who were like, "Oh, this ain't for me," and they'll be in your ear. This ain't for me. I don't think the wage is worth it. I don't think this is it. I don't think it's. Do you know what I mean? And they're telling you this, being negative, and all at the time I was like, "All right, mate. Oh, yeah." And then they will go, and I'll still keep going. And
That's the difference. That's the true winning mindset.
Yeah.
Because that's what it takes. Because there was that group that you're talking about, a group of people. Imagine they're now all being negative, and then go, nah, I don't think the strategy really works. You know, I don't think you actually can become consistent. I don't think it's actually a profitable system. I don't think it has an edge. You see how that misery loves company.
Yeah.
With a group of 5 people,
Yeah.
6 people, 10 people, 12 people, when you start to infect everybody else's mind, it takes a very unique individual to go, let me just, the first part, as in you expect people to drop off anyway, and the second part, to have the emotional intelligence to look through the noise versus how people feel. Because listen, I would be shocked if people didn't try to drag my name through the mud. I would be surprised if they didn't, because at the end of the day, who else are they going to blame? They're going to blame me anyway. So it's almost like I would find it, I didn't realize that at the time, because who would want, you know, when you give everything and you really actually care about people succeeding, you never expect someone to hit you back with that. But when you really look at it, and this took me a long time to figure out, which is, who else they're going to blame? They're going to blame their mate, are they?
Yeah.
They're going to go, well, I'm not making the money that I thought I would make based off of whatever circumstance they had, so I'm going to go blame Mark, because why would I blame myself? And I remember at the time, I actually had Ibi and Abdu, out of pure coincidence, right? Both coaches now. They were 2 of the only people that could actually look through all of the noise that had my back without question. I didn't even know them very well at that point. They were just students.
Yeah.
But they could see through all of it to go, that's a whole bunch of bullshit. And this is what is actually true. Now look how successful they've become. Look at the value they've now brought to the community.
I remember a couple of old students who were like, "Oh, leave Falcon and join us with this group." And
That doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. And they were telling me to do it. And there was one person in Maidstone that told a very good friend of mine, "Oh yeah, he's with this group, and they're doing really well. Why don't you move over?" And I was like, "I'm all right, thanks." And then I had it before I joined the Marines. There was I remember Mum coming up to me and telling me that there's a lot of people here that you know of who don't think you'd be able to do it. They just think you're just doing it because you just want to join, and they expect to see you soon, coming back.
Wow.
And then when I first joined Falcon, there was a lot of people that heard like me meeting up with you to learn this trading thing. A lot of people took the piss.
I remember.
Took the piss and were like, "Oh, he's seen what Stonley's doing, trying to do with Mark," and
Trying to mug you, basically.
Yeah, and funny enough now, they're all still going to work miserable, and I've got all my time back.
There were people that went to my school that wrote me off. Didn't believe it was possible. People that I used to sit in the same lessons of. They based, well, He wasn't, because I was dyslexic. I didn't hit any good grades. They're not measuring emotional intelligence at school, are they? They're just measuring your grades. So I actually understand why they would say that. Because listen, if you go to school, you see someone who's become like a millionaire, and then you think, I went to school with that person. They was in getting C's, D's, E's. Something is part of your mind cannot wrap your head around that being possible. So I actually understand why they would think that.
Right, so saying this, perfect example. What I'm doing now, all my time back, 5 figures a month, and then someone's gone, yeah, but you failed school. You was shit at school. So you're still holding on to something that long ago to make you feel better because of school. Do you know what I mean?
That's like judging someone when they was 8 years old. Well, what sticks out to me is that all the way through, like everything you've achieved and where you're going. More so, if you was to speak to the community or traders as a whole, what are the top things that you're now focusing on? Now you've got to this level, because I actually think this is where complacency and how people can self-sabotage everything. What is the goal for you now? You've got a few 100,000 under capital under management.
Yep.
You know you've got the right infrastructure, the support, everything is there now. Do you think there's anything that could trip you up? And if it would, what would that be?
Trip me up. I'm gonna say nothing really. I still keep to the same routines.
There you go. That's the answer I was looking for. So you've actually not changed anything.
No, I've not changed anything really.
Have you felt any need or impulsiveness to go, well, I've made some money, I'm gonna go spend it now? Or do you feel relaxed?
No, I feel relaxed. I'm just want to keep to the same routines and habits that got me that 5K to get the next payout and work up the ladder.
I know you're saying this like it's obvious, but,
yeah.
which is good, because I'm asking these questions on purpose.
Right.
But that is where people win and lose. It's that.
Right.
It's that ability to just, because listen, it's like the whole football analogy, right? 0-0. You've heard it before.
Yeah,
Play
yeah.
football. We go 1-0 up, and then they just say, right, 0-0. So even the old school lot knew not to get complacent.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is hilarious when you think about it, because they even know. Basically, what they were saying was, listen, we've just scored a goal. We're probably gonna be the most vulnerable.
Yep.
And not cover our bases properly after you've scored, because you're going to be more emotional. You're like, we're winning now. That is where the gaps. That's where the holes are. So when they say 0-0, it's like, don't fucking get complacent.
Yep.
And I think you've had that drilled into you, because you know you can't cheat the system.
Yeah.
These are such valuable gems, man.
Yeah, I said that earlier on, didn't I? And yeah, I've kept to the same stuff. There's nothing changing for me to, like you said, to change, to progress. There's not. If I change anything, I'm just going to lose, really.
Imagine you at 7 figures now. Do you believe, and you can answer this honestly, you don't have to just say it for the sake of it,
Right.
but do you believe that right now, is there a capital number where you think that might make me feel uncomfortable? Or have you done the work to a point that you think, I could handle this amount?
In the last 2 years, I've always been telling myself, I've written it down, like the number that I want to be at is 4 million.
Yeah.
4 million capital, because I find it's just enough to break the 5 figure a month bracket, because then you get the 6 figures, and it's not too much where there's new rules or what's the word?
Regulations.
Regulations that get
Regulations?
Regulations.
That's a new one. We'll go with regulations.
that get kicked in, that come into play. So I've told myself this over and over again. So like at the moment it's 200 grand, I'm not phased by the numbers, because at the same time when I'm taking the trade, I'm not looking at the number and like worrying. Everyone's different, of course, but for me, it's that have I taken the right trade and I'm following the percent of that trade.
Beautiful.
So for me, it's not really been a.
Before you know it, you'll have 400, then you'll hit a milestone of 500, and so on and so on. And you'll look back and you'll realize, like you said, it almost was like effortless, like the 5 grand.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. The same process that you learn from day one, you taking that trade on a 5 grand account or a 500 grand account or a £5 million account.
Just a different size.
Same process.
Size.
So all it is the emotion of doing all of the work to actually earn the right to make the money from it.
And the thing is, like I said, it's taken me 5 years. That 5 years to go through so much with trading, the technical side, the mindset side, me as a person growing and what I've gone through, even in the last 5 years, moving forward, when I get to 7 figures, nothing really is going to change. But that 5 years got me this 7 figures. I'm not going to look back. I know everyone goes, oh, you don't look back, but I genuinely am not going to look back and go, it's taken me 5 years and now I'm working up to 7 figures. I'm still young. Like I know I'm in my 30s, but I'm still young. I've still got 30, 40 years of enjoying my life and not being to 65 and going, oh, now I'll get a little bit a month.
Well, you've got the abundant mindset, mate.
Yeah.
You've built it. You know, this didn't get handed to you. You've really had to work at it. Surrounding yourself with the right people. He surrounds himself to the right people, so much so he books his haircut into the same time as mine.
No, not anymore. Let me do though.
Yeah, literally.
I see him there every Wednesday.
Again, surround yourself with the right people, even if it means booking in appointments at the same time. No, Stonley, proud of you, mate. You've stuck at it all the way through.
I just want to clarify that what I've gone through, if I can do it, anyone can make trading. It could be anything, but what trading. So I honestly put my hands down, like anyone can make it in trading. If whatever they go through, just keep going.
7 figures is coming, mate.
7 figures. And I've got other stuff that I've already working towards, and with my brother as well. Quickly on that. So what I've been doing the last 5 years, and listening to Rewired, listening to you, the mindset stuff is rubbed off on my brother. Last year, he quit his job and he wanted to take the risk. Because obviously, that's what we are, risk managers, professional risk takers. And he's done that, and he's now got his own business, and he's doing better than ever before.
Incredible,
and he's got his time back, and he's seeing his kids a lot more.
That's what I mean. It's priceless. It's these moments. It's not all about the money, but the freedom that it gives you. It's incredible to see that. So, mate, first student, 7 figures going to be hit soon. It's really good house, mate. I like it as well.
Things like that is what should get the tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, not some kid that started training. Yeah, they've got a million views.